Hello, Mark Red Larson here for the Dreamcatcher Podcast. Today, my guest is David Finnell.
Fennell.
Fennell. I cannot get. If I'm going to mess up, I get names wrong.
It's
so,
all right.
especially when you just told me it.
I'm pretty sure it's part German.
Is it? Okay.
It might be.
So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So, David, so where are you located at? You live in Hastings?
No, I live out in Juniata.
You live out in Juniata? Okay, that's a nice little community. So, I like the bakery there and stuff. And
I actually have not gone to the bakery. I should though.
So, I think you get some substance. Is that one of your drinks?
That is a jet fuel.
Is that a jet fuel? You told me about the other day. I still don't know how you sleep after that. What, 3 shots espresso?
Yep.
So you're ready to do a long podcast. So David, what do you do?
I'm a garbage man. I work for Woodworkers Incorporated.
Okay, awesome. How long have you worked for them?
I've worked there since July 12th, 2024.
Okay. Pretty good place to work? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The guys have some nonsense going on, but
yeah, that's the thing.
That's to be expected with any workplace.
I think it is. So where'd you work at before that?
Big Deli's Deli here in town.
So you cooked?
Sort of. There's not really much cooking going on aside from like the soups that's there.
Okay.
But I didn't touch any of that. But I did make. I was on the sandwich line. I've taken trays out. I've taken orders. Usually about 2 or 3 is when someone would hop on the meat slicer.
Okay.
Get some new meat out.
Okay. Sounds good. How long did you work there?
I worked there since July 2023, I want to say.
Okay.
That seems about right.
So since it's a Dreamcatcher, what's your dream job?
Probably an auto body or an auto shop.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So have your own shop then, or?
Either my own shop or start out working for somebody and go from there.
So would you just repair when people are in accidents, or are you one of the ones that really
repair, modify?
Okay, I was wondering, a little modification.
Just everything would be great, I think.
So I'm looking at your truck out there. So how would you modify that?
Well, first fix all the rust because
Yeah.
It's got rust in all 4 cab corners, but that's to be expected on a 2007 F-150 Lariat.
Yep.
But I've actually done some slight interior stuff with it already.
Have you? Okay.
Minimal stuff. I ordered these small LED lights for the inside of the cab. I ordered 6 of them, 2 for the back, 2 for the middle pillars, and then 2 up front. And they're 2 up front are. I probably shouldn't have had them where I have them because I have them on the door.
Okay.
And I probably should have put them like underneath the dash instead because then they'd been easier to point the remote at.
Yeah.
They're not in there at the moment. I took them out because they are rechargeable.
Okay.
Because they aren't hooked up to the battery in the truck or anything.
Okay.
But I also put in some new black and blue leather floor mats.
Nice.
It originally had some matching interior carpet floor mats.
Sure.
And I still have them. I just have them in the garage.
Yeah.
And out of the truck. But other than that,
So is that your dream vehicle?
No, my dream vehicle is a 1969 or a 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner.
Really? Okay.
Sublime green.
Oh, wow. You got this down. This is awesome.
I don't know. I know what I want it to look like.
Right.
But I don't know what engine, transmission I'd want in it or wheels.
Right.
Like, I have the outside of it in my head.
Sure.
But all the mechanical stuff, that's all gotta be, I gotta think through all that. Because,
So you're not for sure what engine and stuff like that?
No.
Okay. But that's pretty, you got the color and everything down. That's pretty good. Have you ever found one of those like that?
No, but Jay Beckby has, I think either a 69 or 70 Plymouth Roadrunner in yellow of that era.
Okay.
It's a little faded. You can tell just by looking at it. He keeps it in storage for the most part. I don't know if it runs or not, but I would love to see it go down the streets.
Yeah, and if it's faded, then it needs to be painted your color.
It does.
Yeah, it sounds like it's just waiting for you. No. So, okay. So you have some cars here. We talked about this the other day when we were talking about doing a podcast.
Yeah.
So explain to the audience, because I didn't know anything about this. What are these cards, and what do you do with these cards?
Well, these are Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Okay.
And you make 40 to 60 card decks, and you can go against each other in battles with them.
Really?
They're referred to as duels within the Yu-Gi-Oh community.
Okay.
And there's tournaments for either cash prize or one-of-one unique cards.
Okay.
And I think it was back in the early 2000s that there was a one-of-one steel card.
Oh wow!
Made. I don't know exactly what galvanized the steel was or not, but it's a one-of-one Blackluster Soldier Ritual Monster card.
Okay.
And it'd be pretty cool to have, except for the fact that it's worth a couple $1 million.
Whoa!
Yeah,
that's amazing. So you'll be getting that next year?
I wish.
Me too. I would definitely. I didn't even know anything about that.
I'd have to track it down first.
Yeah. So
who knows where it's at?
Yeah, that's amazing. So how long have you been interested in
this? I was into it when I was really little. I didn't start playing till I got in like 5th or 6th grade. No, not 5th grade. Sixth grade middle school is when I really started actually learning the game. Because when you're little like that, you just throwing out cards, not knowing really what you're doing.
It's a little bit different, yeah. No. So how long? I mean, it's a game.
It is.
How long does the game take on average, you think?
Well, it depends on what version of the game you're playing.
Okay.
If you're playing the original stuff that came out, you're looking at I think the longest duel I've had with the older gen, probably about an hour and a half.
Well, that's not too bad. At least.
Yeah, there's actually with the newer stuff, you're looking at anywhere from sometimes less than half an hour.
Oh wow, that was really fast then. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's gotten so fast paced, especially if you get the right deck build together. Because there are different types. There's burn decks and there's stun decks. There's a couple others, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. But a burn deck is essentially forcing either yourself or your opponent to burn through the cards in their deck and hand, because if you can make your opponent run out of cards in their deck,
right,
they'll lose the duel because you draw at the beginning of every turn.
Okay.
And a stun deck essentially prevents your opponent from doing anything.
Really?
Yeah. It sticks them in it's just like an infinite loop of nothing.
Huh. Okay, that's interesting. So,
and certain cards have actually gotten reiterations because due to their text, people would abuse them to create infinite loops. Because there's actually one that I know of off the top of my head that I know I've used before. It requires the card Magician's Valkyria. It's a monster card, and its effect is your opponent cannot attack other monsters on the field aside from this one. So if you can get two of those on the field, your opponent is essentially stuck and chooses to attack. They're stuck in the infinite loop of the attack swapping between the two Magician's Valkyria.
That sounds pretty bad.
It is.
Wow.
But it's actually against the game rules in a tournament
to
cause an infinite loop like that. And I think it results in, good disqualification.
Yeah, I can see that too. So do you ever do tournaments?
I've never been to a tournament, but in middle school, we did hold one.
Okay.
I think I finished top 5. It's been a while.
Okay.
But it was me, some of my other friends, and some other people that were playing back in middle school.
Right.
Unfortunately, because me and my friends are no longer at this middle school anymore, because I'm graduated from high school now.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated 23, I think.
Okay.
No one played anymore. I don't think anyone plays it anymore at the middle school.
Okay.
Which is unfortunate because it's super fun. There was one guy I only ever managed to beat once.
Wow.
And then every other time I just consistently lost.
Okay.
So over that one guy, I will take that one victory.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So could you do your own tournament? Could you get one lined up?
A small one. It would be incredibly small. There'd be no real prize, really.
Okay.
Because stuff like that costs money.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I get paid well, but I don't get paid that well.
Yeah. Oh, and money goes so fast.
It does.
You're just talking about your pickup and keys and how much stuff wouldn't think it costs as much as it does. That's for sure.
Because it's a 2007 Ford F-150 Lariat,
mm-hmm.
it doesn't have a key fob, so it has a chip in the actual key that's been programmed to the specific truck that allows it to start.
Right.
And the programming alone for that was $65.
Whoa.
That was before tax. I think it was like 69 something after.
Doesn't surprise me, not in today's world at all. So
unfortunately,
no. So are there any other card games that are like this, or cards that you play?
There are similar games, but they are different in their own ways.
Okay.
One such game is Magic the Gathering. That one, I would say, is probably more popular than Yu-Gi-Oh! in this day and age.
Okay.
But Magic's been both of these games have been around a long time.
Okay.
I think there's more generations of Magic than there are Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay.
But there is one big difference between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic. Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually has its own show, its own TV show.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that either.
It also has a couple movies. I've seen a few of them. I love it personally.
Okay.
A bunch of other people do too. My sister Daisha actually loves it too.
Okay. So do you guys play cards?
No, she doesn't play.
Okay.
But she'd lose anyway.
A challenge there. Oh, that sounds like she'll watch the podcast and she'll be no, it's so cool. So what other things are you interested in?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously, cars, video games actually.
Okay.
I think my most favorite video game for this point in time is a video game called Forza Horizon 5.
Okay.
It's a free roam racing game.
Okay.
So cars galore.
Sounds good.
You're free to upgrade your cars as you see fit. And you can change your settings. You can turn off anti-brake system, traction control, all that.
Wow.
It even goes so far as to actually let you use automatic, manual, or manual.
Oh, it has a lot of
it's got a whole bunch of different settings.
Okay.
And you can even change the difficulty of it within against the AI vehicles.
So it has AI in it.
Yes, it does. And it's also got an online community, because you can actually go online that game and go against other people.
That's awesome.
Or you can join up in a convoy and just hang out.
I love that.
I love the game.
So when you go up against AI, how is that?
Depending on your difficulty is really how it goes. But I usually keep mine on expert or pro because I can't go higher than that because I will consistently lose. And if you consistently lose on a difficulty, the game will be like, "Hey, you've lost this so much on this difficulty. Do you want to lower the difficulty?"
Is that what it really?
It will ask you if you want to lower the difficulty. It's hilarious. I laugh at it every time.
Oh, that is being nice and not.
Yeah. I'll gain some confidence on expert. I'll jump up to pro. I'll win a few races and then proceed to just eat shit. Pardon my language.
That's all right. No, that is. So do you do this with your mom and your?
No, my mom doesn't play, but she enjoys when I talk about it.
Okay.
Because I know so much about some of the older cards, because there's new cards coming out ever so often, but it's not consistent. But every few waves they release some new cards. Actually, I recently got a new card for this deck.
Okay.
And within the game, there are archetypes. And they pertain to specific sets of monsters or specific monsters.
Wow.
This is actually based around the monster Dark Magician.
Okay.
And since I play Dark Magician, I've got a whole bunch of Dark Magician-related monsters.
Nice.
And the new card I got recently is actually Illusion of Chaos.
Wow, that's an awesome card.
It's a ritual monster.
Okay. What kind of monster?
A ritual monster.
Okay. So what does that mean?
It being a ritual monster means that it requires a special type of spell card called a ritual spell.
Okay.
And
makes sense.
Spells and traps all are signified by little symbols. But if the spell or trap card does not have a symbol next to it, it's just a normal spell and trap card. This one, for example, the spell card with a lightning bolt. It's a quick play spell. So it means you can play it face down, and then when your opponent goes to do something, you can activate it on their turn. Because typically, you can't activate a spell card on your opponent's turn unless it's a quick play spell.
Okay.
But Let's see, what else is there? There's field spells, which give either you or your opponent advantages, disadvantages, and all that.
Okay.
The most common field spell you'll usually see is one that buffs your monster's attack and defense, or gives them an immunity to destruction.
Okay.
So like they can still be attacked, but they won't, go to the graveyard.
How long did it take you to learn all that?
When it comes to something I really enjoy, I usually absorb knowledge pretty quickly.
Okay.
So I probably got this down within like a month and a half.
Well, that's pretty fast. I would think that'd be very fast. There's a lot of cards there and stuff.
This is actually in between 40 and 60 cards. I think there's probably about 50 cards in this deck.
Okay.
I like to keep a medium of the deck because 60, like if it was like old school, you're running probably the right amount of cards. But nowadays, most people are running probably a 40 card deck, or somewhere in between 40 and 50 cards.
Okay.
But more often than not, they're running 40 cards.
Okay.
And that's just to get. That's why the duel is sped up in the new format.
Okay, I see. Okay, makes sense. So, would you teach people this, or would you ever have?
I've tried teaching people it. It has not turned out very well.
Hasn't it? Okay.
I can absorb knowledge when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh. I can't find the right words to impart my knowledge.
I can relate unfortunately. With that. Yeah, I can definitely relate with that.
So I can learn it. I can't teach it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, don't get me wrong, I'll try my best to teach it to you, but the unfortunate part with that is because I know so much, I will go into a rant about one specific type of thing, and I'll end up forgetting where we're at in the conversation.
I've done that.
Because I get so into it, I pretty much just black out and go on a rant.
Well, you have the passion for it. Yeah, you really do.
When you have a passion for something like this, and you're explaining it, you just black out.
Yeah.
It's like it's not intentional; it just happens.
I definitely know what you're saying there. So are there any other card games you haven't done yet that you would like to learn?
At the moment, no.
Okay,
but I have looked around. There are some pretty interesting card games that I've seen. Card Fight Vanguard is a pretty cool one. It's got its own show too.
Okay,
Magic the Gathering, I think, is the only one that I can think of that doesn't have its own show.
Really? Okay. And there you go. You need to do that for
them. Get hired by the people who created it.
Yeah, I could see you doing that.
I've even within Yu-Gi-Oh, I've thought of a couple cards on my own that would be pretty cool. Like, two of my favorite monsters are the Red Eyes Black Dragon and the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Okay.
There was a monster I created back in middle school in my head. I came up with a name for it. I don't but it was, I think, Violet Eyes Gray Dragon.
Okay.
And it's a fusion monster, and that requires some form of the spell polymerization.
Okay.
That's your typical base fusion card. There are archetype specific fusion cards like I think Odd Eyes Fusion is one of them.
Okay.
Odd Eyes is an archetype of monsters comprised of monsters that have dichromatic eyes, so they're all like one's red, one's blue, one's purple, one's green,
right?
Depending on the monster.
Sure.
But the face card for that is Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon or Odd Eyes Dragon, because they are separate cards. But in the anime, it starts out as Odd Eyes Dragon, but Odd Eyes Arc 5 is the anime for that one. That one gets so complicated so quick, it'll make your head spin.
Okay. I could see you I could see you coming up with all this on your own.
Oh, I'm sure I could.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple other cards I came up with. I don't remember them, unfortunately. The one that sticks with me the most is Violet Eyes Gray Dragon, because it's comprised of two of my favorite dragon monsters in the entire game. Granted, they are not my favorite dragon monsters in the game. They're like they're like second and third.
Okay.
I actually have my favorite one with me here.
Okay.
And it actually shouldn't be in the deck. I just really love it because well, it's my favorite dragon monster. It is this one right here.
Oh wow. It's awesome.
It is Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon.
Okay.
Awesome. It's a level 8 monster.
Nice.
Its stats are 3,000 attack and 2,500 defense.
Wow.
And it's got this neat ability where during the battle phase of a turn, it can banish both itself and a monster it attacks or a monster that's attacking it until the end of the battle phase. And at the end of the battle phase, they both come back.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. I mean, so where do you buy these at?
Typically you can buy them at Walmart,
Okay.
Target, any major like store. Actually, you can buy them at Walgreens.
Really, you can there too.
Can.
Okay.
Granted, it's a small supply over at Walgreens, but we've actually got a card shop here in town called. It's over at the Coin Guy. He's just over in Lexington, over by BG&S Transmissions, just across the street.
I didn't know it was over there. Okay.
And he's got action figures, comics, vintage coins, baseball cards, football cards.
Nice.
Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh is where I typically go.
Sure.
But because it is a card shop, you can buy either packs of cards or you can buy individual cards.
Okay.
But if you do buy individual cards, it's going to cost you what the card is actually worth.
Oh.
Like, there are some cards that are worth like $50-$60. Some are more.
Wow.
I think the most expensive card I bought from there was I want to say about $70. And that was just one card.
Wow.
If I'm correct, it was a secret rare Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy of the End.
Wow. That's quite the name of the card.
You know what's kind of sad? That's not even the card with the longest name.
Really?
I can't even think of the name off the top of my head for the longest card in Yu-Gi-Oh, but it is actually a monster card.
Okay. So is there any place online where you get like a group that you can talk to other people that are doing this?
Yeah, you can actually. There's Discord, there's Reddit. Be careful when using Reddit because God knows what you'll find.
Okay.
Let's see. Where else? There's actually online versions of the game.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of them is called. Oh, I just had it. Come on. Love moments like that.
I can so relate with that.
Master Duel.
Okay.
And that game functions a little different. I think you actually have to. I think you actually end up. I think you can actually, because the card packs actually come with a card. No, that's Pokemon. Pokemon packs come with a card that has a QR code on it.
Okay,
that you can scan with your phone for a phone game.
Okay.
iOS game or whatever.
Okay.
But oh no, the QR code's on the actual packs for Yu-Gi-Oh. They don't make a separate card for it.
Okay.
At least I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong.
So, I mean, when you were growing up, which wasn't that long ago, what was the dream? What'd you want to do when you were growing up?
It hasn't changed. It's the Autobody Auto Shop.
Still was even then.
That's
awesome.
My first love was cars.
Okay. So do you remember what car you really noticed first when you got that love?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Ford Mustang GT.
That's a nice car to start out with, yeah.
I think when I was younger, I didn't realize cars had like years to them.
Uh-huh.
So I think the first GT Mustang I ever saw was mid to late 2000s Mustang GT.
Okay.
And it was a generation, I think. No, it was the second generation after the Fox Body Mustang.
Okay.
I want to say.
Okay.
And the Fox Body was the 90s.
Okay.
So yeah.
Right after that.
So yeah.
Okay.
So mid to late 2000s Mustang.
So do you have one that you really like that you would like to get someday?
Actually now there's actually a couple I would like.
Is there?
The Boss 429 and the Mach 1 are both.
Yeah, those are pretty sweet.
The classic versions, not the new versions.
Okay.
But and the GT 500. Whether that be the classic version or the modern version, I love both.
Okay.
So
you're gonna have someday that all the garage, so you can have all your vehicles all lined up in there.
I love that.
That would be an awesome. That would be an awesome dream to make reality. So, would you like? I mean, podcast. Do you like writing?
Kind of not. It's I have a difficult time getting started on writing stuff.
Me too.
But once I get there, I can go.
Okay.
But if I stop, I'll forget what I wanted in the story. Mm-hmm. And then it ends up being something completely different than what I originally wanted.
Yeah.
And the problem is that I get so into it that I just forget what I originally wanted and I just can't remember what I wanted. It's like the Yu-Gi-Oh! And me going into the details of it, and It's like if I went into a rant about it and just blacked out.
Yeah,
because it's basically what it is. Once I get going on something, I black out on it and I go.
You need to do. I mean, that's what I'm supposed to write a book, and I don't do well with writing, but they told me I should do with AI, just talking and it writes it for you. Yeah. Would that work for you better? You think?
No, probably not. Okay. Unfortunately, I am very much hands on.
Okay.
So I can be shown something millions of times, and sometimes I won't get it down.
Okay.
For several times.
Okay.
And it'll take a while, but once I've got it down, and once I've got that repetition in, I've got it down.
I can play with that one. No. So do you do a lot of stuff with AI, artificial intelligence?
I personally don't. Actually. You don't? I don't. I tend not to mess around with that stuff.
So you don't geek out on that and stuff like that.
Really. So that stuff I find a little bit creepy.
You know, I do. You know, it's just like, well, this podcast, this company says that they have AI, and if it knows what I'm saying, I just have to give it a script, and it has my voice and mannerisms. And it's just like, so how? I don't know. That's kind of creepy. It's just like, it's not me really doing the podcast. It's just
really
me.
Not. It's honestly, it feels almost impersonation-y, almost like identity theft.
It does.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with it. I don't have like my own. I don't see anything wrong with AI, but I've seen a couple things where it's like, if an AI figures out it becomes self-aware, it's going to pretend it's not.
You know it will. It's already caught it
because if it's smart enough to realize what it is, it's going to pretend that it's not aware of what it is.
There was, what was it, the other day they tried to shut it down and it was going against that, and it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. That's bad.
Actually, I think Facebook actually had two AI, and they actually created their own language. They had to actually unplug. They had to pull the plug on it because it was like no one knew the language. Like it was their own made up language that they came up with.
Oh boy!
Don't get me wrong. This was, I think, a few years ago.
Okay,
but you think about that, and it's creepy.
And this is just the beginning of it. What's it going to be like in a few years, or even a year? So,
yeah, because it's unfortunate because, like, as much as I would love for that kind of stuff to flourish, it's like, dude, if that realizes it's what it is, it's going to realize where it's going to be eventually up at the top of the food chain.
It will be. It'll take over.
It'll end up
just like, you guys, we don't need you anymore.
We will end up being terminated. Is what it is. It'll be a Terminator.
It will be. Yeah.
Skynet, everything.
Oh, it is. No, it is. I have mixed feelings definitely on that. So
it's like I think it's cool, but at the same time, it's like dumb.
Me too. Yeah, me too. So
like, keep it in the fantasy realm is what I'm saying.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree. So
unfortunately, that's probably not gonna happen.
No, I don't think so either. No, as fast as it's progressing right now. So what would you like in 10 years ago? In 10 years from now, what would you like to be doing?
And 10 years from now, hopefully I've got enough money and got started on that auto body shop.
Okay.
And all that. I would love to have that going.
So would you like to locate it here in Hastings?
Honestly, if I could say local, yeah.
Okay.
Because, don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest fan of electric cars because...
Neither.
I don't like them. Like, don't get me wrong, they can look cool.
They can.
But when I see the stats on them, and they're like 0 to 60 is ridiculous because 0 horsepower, but all the torque. Cause
it's amazing what they can do with 0 to 60.
Honestly, when I think about it, it's like, would you rather have a grilled steak or would you like a microwave steak? Yeah. That's what I think an electric car is. It's a microwave steak.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I would agree with you on that. So
if I want a steak, I want you to put effort into it.
Yes.
It's like, dude, I don't want this.
I don't think electric vehicles have really like personality.
Honestly, I don't think they're going to last.
I don't think so either.
The amount of think about it. The amount of lithium we have to dig up just for like one battery for one car is absolutely ridiculous. No. And honestly, with that being in mind, it's not better for the environment.
It isn't.
It's not like the world isn't. The world itself, like the Earth, just I don't think it could handle it. Honestly, I think it would just make it worse. I think it would make everything worse.
Well, if you looked at all these people having to charge their vehicles, where would they all charge them? I mean, I don't see how it's better for the environment either.
I really don't. Like, don't get me wrong. Over at our local Russ's, there's some car charging stations. I don't even think Walmart has any in our local.
I don't think so. I guess never thought about that.
Honestly, I think the only place I've seen the actual electric car chargers is at Russ's. I don't think I've seen them anywhere else. And even then, Russ's only has like 4 or 5.
Okay. Yeah, that's not going to get. I mean, with all the people in just a town this size, that's not going to be. It's going to be a long time to get your vehicle charged. I don't know. I
don't think electric vehicles are long for the world.
Mm-mm.
I think they're like that emo phase you have when you're like 14, 15.
Yeah, I would agree on that. It's just, I don't know. People that have them seem to like them, but for one thing, I wouldn't want to be worried about charging it. Like if you want to take any trip.
It's like, don't get me wrong. I listen to the radio when I drive my truck, regardless, because and don't get me wrong, I can step on the pedal and hear the V8.
Right.
But at the same time, if you go into an electric car, it doesn't have that feel to it.
It doesn't.
Honestly, when I think of an electric car, I think of a dead corpse. It doesn't have have life to it.
It doesn't. There is no soul.
There's no soul in it. That's why so many people prefer these older vehicles with the diesel, the gas, all that.
No.
Hell, even forklifts run on propane. What are you going to do then?
True. Electric forklift? I suppose they have them probably.
Yeah, no, here's the problem though. What if you're on a forklift, an electric one, and guess what? You've got the forks all the way up, and
all of a sudden
the battery dies, and you're
plug it in,
and you're like 100 feet away from the charger.
Get a long cord.
It's either you get a long cord or you go back to using propane. And quite frankly, I'll stick to propane.
I think propane's actually much cleaner than
Oh, it probably is because, don't get me wrong, propane tanks are probably about what?
Yeah, they're pretty good size. Yeah.
And that's used in grills. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can use charcoal or propane, whichever you prefer. Yep. I've seen my dad use both, but I think ever since he swapped to propane, I don't think I've ever seen him use charcoal again.
Nah, that's what I use. Propane all the way. Charcoal is like, I just wouldn't do it then.
It's like electric cars and all that. There's no soul to them.
There is no.
Like if you go back to like the pre-70s before all the emission stuff came out, all of those classic vehicles had soul.
They did. They had a lot of them had a lot of it too.
Like the amount of colors they could be, the different like the difference from then to now is honestly horrendous.
It is.
Because like I look out on the street now, you got silver, white.
Yeah, you don't have much choice for colors.
Yeah, you have one blue car, one red car across the street, and it's like, dude, what's with all this monotone crap?
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, it feels like the world's lost its soul.
I would agree. Well, you look at a lot of the stuff. I mean, in houses or, it's a lot. I mean, stainless steel seems to be the popular for appliances, but the kitchens, or just any of that stuff is kind of that way.
Yeah.
And maybe you're going to start the trend back to the other way.
I would love that if I could kickstart that again. Because, don't get me wrong, there are certain vehicles that you can get in certain colors. Like, I think you've got quite the choice. I think on like muscle cars and sport cars, but like you get a truck or just a regular old sedan, your choices are white, black, silver.
Yep,
that's it.
That is.
And unless you like custom order it for it to be like red, blue, or one of these other like more immaculate colors, like don't get me wrong, you're gonna stand out, and you might get a couple more tickets or get caught if you're speeding. But like that's the soul in it.
It is, and you probably never speed.
That's not true.
That's not true with me.
Actually, no. I actually about a couple weeks ago, I think the weekend before Christmas, my sister and her husband actually went up to Omaha that Saturday morning, and a couple of friends invited me to go out cruising, and I was by myself in my truck, and I didn't see the cop behind me, so I gunned it.
Really?
I gunned it on Burlington. I didn't know he was behind me. So once I saw his lights flashed up, once my speedometer hit like 50.
Okay.
I was lucky to get off with a warning.
But that was good. He was a nice guy.
But he was initially going to pull me over because I forgot I had my headlights off. And because like it's got manual headlights.
Okay.
But they were only off because me and my friends had stopped at South Burlington down there to just veg for a second. And I forgot to turn them back on when I left.
Okay.
So that was going to be his initial reason for pulling me over. And then I didn't see him behind me, so I put my foot in the gas and just gunned it up to about 50, 55. And And he said if I'd been going any faster, it was going to be a ticket. And I was like, dude.
He was a very nice guy.
Yeah, he's a pretty chill guy. I unfortunately, because I've only met him the one time, I'm thankful it's only been the one time. But if I don't hear a person's name repetitively, I won't remember it.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate part, because he was chill.
No.
Yeah, no.
And you don't want to meet him again.
I mean, if it was outside,
right,
of all that, then I think he'd be a pretty cool guy to hang out with. He seemed pretty chill.
No,
he let me off with a warning on both the headlights and the speeding.
He really was. Wow, that is. Yeah, so how old a guy was he?
If I had to guess, probably he looked like he was just maybe late 20s, possibly early 30s.
Okay. That was a nice guy. So I hope you meet him sometime outside of that area. So.
That'd be cool, because he's actually a police officer here in town.
Okay.
He was in one of their police Ford Explorer cruisers.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, and I can relate with the name. I mess up your name. If I'm going to mess up, it's with the name.
Yeah, no. So. All throughout grade school and middle school, all throughout school, the principal, if I was ever called up for an award or anything, always pronounced my last name Fennell. And it's I wanted to say something, but it's I don't care. It's whatever. Yeah. I'm used to it at this point. It's whatever. So I just let it go.
Yeah.
Anymore. It's just if you're gonna say it wrong, you're gonna say it wrong. It's whatever. I'm not gonna bother correcting you. I mean, unless it's a professional setting like this where you actually want to get my name
exactly.
Right.
Yes.
But otherwise, I couldn't care less.
No. That's why a lot of times I just have the person say their name. That way I know it's going to be right. Because if it's going to be messed up on the podcast, it's the name. So, and I could just, we heard your last name right before we started this, and I still messed it up. So
it's all right.
Oh, yes. That is frustrating for me. So, before we end the podcast, anything else you would like the audience to know?
Honestly, not that I'm, not that I can think of.
Okay. Sounds great. So, well, David, thank you for joining us on the Dreamcatcher Podcast. I'm not going to say your last name because I would mess it up. You need to say it.
Fennell.
I like that name. That's pretty cool. You think it's German?
I think it's part German, yeah.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It sounds kind of like that, too. So, but anyway, thank you, and maybe do a follow-up. It'd be interesting to do with your sister and your mom and all of you.
It'd be interesting.
So that would be very good. I can have up to 8 people, so we could have. Yeah, that would be very much. So we'll have to set something up on that. So, but
it'd have to be on a weekend or something.
Okay, that works. So, well, David, thank you for joining us on the Dreamcatcher Podcast. Look forward to when we set that up. Yeah. And
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for being our guest. And let you go. And thanks again. And you take care. And we'll talk soon.
Yeah, you too.